Breaking news, school shooting in Sandy Hook. I'm watching the TV in utter disbelief. Red flashing headlines bringing confusion as the cartoons were suddenly shut off. My parents held my shoulders as we watched. "What does this all mean?" I cried. My mom looks at me in silence as the news anchor announces 20 children were shot dead in their first and second grade classrooms. I was shocked and outraged. And for the first time, I truly considered, is school really a safe place? Not according to the latest statistics. 386 shootings on school grounds since Sandy Hook. 2 of them, Parkland, Florida, and Santa Fe, Texas, occurred just last year, taking 27 lives. Each life taken is a person with a story, ones that will no longer be told. And now, 8 years later, I'm a high schooler, watching more news headlines of high schoolers my same age being shot down. So is school really a safe place? No, it is not. So how can we, students, parents, faculty, our communities, and organizations such as the AAUW, eliminate violence aimed towards our schools to prevent yet another tragedy from taking place? Get involved. In order for a problem to be solved, we all need to be aware of it and demand changes. And in February of 2018, I witnessed just that, with students from Florida's Parkland High School creating the organization Never Again MSD. The protest, the March for Our Lives, also brought the severity of how education is being targeted with violence to a national level, making the situation hit closer to home than a TV screen. And the protests continue, demanding a reevaluation of gun control and corresponding solutions to prevent gun violence on school grounds, effectively creating positive change. In fact, the Parkland students led a 60-day bus tour, named Road to Change, to 65 American cities, encouraging more gun control while registering thousands of people to vote. And these new voters brought fresh passion for tighter gun control policies, thus passing an initiative in Washington state that raised the minimum age to 21 to buy a gun. Furthermore, 95 now elected House representatives were endorsed by the Gifford PAC, which is a gun violence prevention organization formed by an Arizona congresswoman who herself was affected by gun violence. With school shooters often having poor mental health, it is also important to get involved, not only in advocating for national change, but also to work with the parents, teachers, and counselors of our community, ensuring that we enforce the stability of students' mental health. Counselors, the closest link to helping students manage their stressors and plan their life opportunities, must monitor students' self-esteem and anger management skills. Additionally, counselors should also lead presentations on anxiety, depression, and suicide prevention and management, promoting emergency hotlines and emotional therapy to remove the stigma that often discredits the serious implications of poor mental health. And students, we must be aware of other students sitting alone at lunch, and verbal or physical harassment situations unfolding before our eyes. With taking less than a minute to take action, you never know if one simple act of kindness will save hundreds of lives. Never again will school days be blood-stained and violence, inflicting a lifetime of trauma upon our innocent students. Looking upon the tragedies that have left us shocked, we must use our outrage to fuel us in standing up, finding our voices, getting involved, and demanding change. From a student's outcry to a vote in Congress, the only thing standing between us and violent-free schools are our own voices. Our country's first documentation, promising life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to every American, should not be compromised. The anger that boiled inside of me 8 years ago, watching the news headlines of the Sandy Hook massacre, now rings loud among the thousands of voices in movements such as the March for Our Lives, demanding tighter gun control and advocating for mental health to be addressed firsthand in our local schools. As Delaney Tarr, a Parkland shooting survivor, advocated at a Never Again movement rally, we want change, and know how we're going to get that change. We're going to keep moving forward because we don't have a choice. The people in office have failed us, and if they continue to fail us, then they will no longer be in office because we will vote them out. In the representative democracy that America is, we must make sure that we do not let ourselves be lost in hindsight, that we do not forget that gun violence and that being stopped, as well as mental health being addressed in our schools, that begins in us. That change begins in us. We must demand that our legislators do their jobs as we do ours. The only thing standing between us and violent-free schools is ourselves. So the only question is, will another 20 first graders need to be slaughtered in their classrooms before tighter gun control is enacted? Thank you.